We've already talked about how to simplify quadratic expressions and how to solve quadratic equations that are in the form of x² plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Today we're just stepping it up a notch and we're going to add in a coefficient to the leading term, x². So today we're going to be looking at quadratic expressions and equations that are in the form ax² plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So let's just jump right in and look at the steps for solving these. Now there's three different situations, and let's look at the first situation. Step number one is going to be to multiply a times c. Now remember, a is the coefficient of the leading term, x², and c is the constant term. Our next step will be to find two numbers whose product is equal to ac and whose sum is equal to b. These will be called m and p. Now, rewrite the original equation in the form ax² plus mx plus px plus c is equal to 0. Step number 4 is going to be to group and factor. Remember, when we were simplifying quadratic expressions that had 4 terms, we would group them and then factor using the distributive property. So let's take a look. Here we have 5x² minus 13x plus 6. Well, 5 is our a, negative 13 is b, and 6 is c. Our first step is to multiply a times c, which would be 5 times 6, which gives us 30. So our next step is we're looking for two numbers that when we multiply them, we get 30, and when we add them together, we get negative 13. So let's just go ahead and think about that. And negative 3 times negative 10 is equal to 30, and negative 3 plus negative 10 is equal to negative 13. So our two numbers are going to be negative 3 and negative 10. And we'll plug them in as m is equal to negative 3 and p is equal to negative 10. So let's see what that looks like when we plug it in. Now we have 5x². Here's our mx, so we have negative 3x. Here's our px, so we have negative 10x plus 6. The next step is to factor this. So remember, we group them and we pull out any common factor. So as we group them, when I group 5x squared minus 3x, I can factor out an x, which leaves me with 5x minus 3. When I group negative 10x plus 6, I can factor out a negative 2, which leaves me with 5x minus 3. We have our common factor here, so we can use distributive property and rewrite this as 5x minus 3 times x minus 2. Remember our common term, that's where we got the 5x minus 3. And then our second binomial would be, we get by x and negative 2, so we have x minus 2. That's one type of situation we're going to run into. Here in just a minute, we'll look at the next step.